of Art and Design by KB and of Devon Art Supplies, an arts and crafts shop in Seaton in Devon. Over the years, I've been asked lots of questions. So I've owned my art shop now for going on 12 years, I think. And obviously, whilst I'm in the shop, I get asked lots of questions about all sorts of arts and crafts materials. And one of the main questions I get asked is, what pad should I be using? What paper should I be using for the medium I'm using? So for example, someone will come in and say, I've just started watercolour, what paper should I use? Or I'm just diving into acrylic, what paper should I use? Interesting question, because lots of people think that you can just use any paper with any medium, and you could certainly use different papers with different mediums, papers they're not necessarily designed for, but you're not going to get the best effect or even the desired effect that you are aiming for. So for example, if you're looking to do watercolour and you try and do that onto a surface, let's see if I can find a piece of, if you try and do watercolour on this, which is an acrylic paper, it's a glossy sheen surface with a texture to it, and it's not going to work. So that just won't work at all. Whereas if you try and do acrylic onto watercolour paper, which if I just grab this one here and show you the texture of this one, yes, it will work. So yes, acrylic would go onto this, but it's not designed for acrylic and it's not going to give you the best effect. So yes, it would work, but it's not going to give you the best effect that you could be getting with your supplies. And of course, when you're using your art supplies, you want to be getting the best you can, so you're not wasting the art supplies and in turn then wasting money. So what I tend to say is, when people come in and they're asking about what paper pad to go for, I ask what medium they're working with and what level they are at. So if they're just starting out, for example, let's say in watercolour, then I would say look into either the Sylvine, which is an affordable, good quality watercolour pad, or look into potentially the new Gecko range. Now these are absolutely fantastic quality, really good price as well. And the great thing about these, I haven't got any in stock right now, but I will show you when I've got them back in stock, is they do some really interesting sizes, including squares, which are so useful for little projects that you're working on. So with watercolour, if you're just starting out, these would be the pads that I would recommend. Now obviously, as you get more professional with your work, if you're looking then to start selling it or to start scanning it in, and you need a good quality to be able to scan in to then create prints, then I would be recommending things like Langton, which are available in hot press, knot and rough. I'll talk about the difference of the watercolour papers in a totally separate video. So those come in all different sizes as well, and obviously hot press is more expensive because it's completely smooth, but you're only going to need that with certain styles of watercolour art. So for example, portraiture and botanical art is often used with hot press, whereas most of the watercolour you can achieve good results on rough or not, but I'll talk about that in another video. So again, you've got lots of different other sort of multimedia pads as well. There's a really great brand now that, or range rather, that a brand have brought out. So this range here is a mixed media pad by Dale Rowney, and you can tell when something is multimedia, well obviously just by saying mixed media, but also if you look for these little icons at the top, they will help you to identify a good pad. Now if you can see the little icons at the top there, this is advising you here that it's good for things with pencil, things you'd use a brush for, which usually means acrylic and watercolour, not always meaning oil, but sometimes it can. Then you've got the pen, so ink, you've got the charcoal there, so pastels and charcoal, and it will tell you that it's acid free and how many sheets and things like that as well. So mixed media pads, look out for those because they can be really handy, and also they come in really great bound editions too. So when it comes to working with pencil, then you can be looking either at just sort of journal pads like these up here. You can get some really lovely hardback bound ones too, And cartridge paper comes in different weights, which I'll talk about in a separate video, but cartridge paper is perfect for all of your pencil needs, and charcoal too. And then obviously you've got acrylic paper, dedicated acrylic paper. If you're just starting out, then the Gecko range of acrylic paper is fantastic value. Then there's obviously oil paper as well, so paper pads are suitable for oil. And then if you're just in the middle between starting out and going forward, this would be one that is one of our best sellers and is highly recommended by our regulars. So this is the De La Rani System 3 acrylic pads. Those are fantastic. And then pastel, if you're working in pastel, there's a fantastic range of pads that have different tonal colours. Now this is the warms, this has got lots of red colours as you can see here, but they do that then in the cool range as well, and the neutrals too. But then if you want to try working on black, the Gecko have launched a really great pad, just like this one here. Again, different sizes are available, so it's really good value. If you're working in Posca pens, then you're going to want a marker pad or a mixed media pad at least. So you can get marker pads like this, and they're good also for alcohol markers too, and they're bleed proof, those types. But this is another fantastic launch by Gecko, and this is the Freestyle, I think it's called, and fantastic, as you can see, for Posca pens. Our regulars who like to work in Posca pens are raving about these pads and absolutely love them, so they definitely recommend those. Now what I'll do is I'll go a little bit more in depth with individual videos that will suit any of you who are working specific mediums. So I'll do one dedicated to watercolour, acrylic, oil and pastel, and possibly charcoal and pencil too. But if you've got any other questions about what pads you should be using for what mediums, then let me know and I can give you a video on my experience, on what I use personally, because obviously I do work in lots of different mediums. But the great thing is I can also pass on information that I'm learning from my customers. So 12 years in the industry and working with lots of different companies and working in the shop means that I have been able to work and speak with lots of different artists of all different levels, and they give me the feedback. So I'm listening and learning all of the time about what you hear on YouTube, but also people that I'm meeting face to face in the shop, what you are experiencing with all the different brands and pads. Now, just because I don't stock a particular brand doesn't mean I don't think it's any good. So if you don't see the brand when I do a span of all the books and show you some of them, that doesn't mean they're not a good brand to go for. It just means that it might not be the best value, and that kind of is what I'm always looking for when I'm buying in stock for the shop. So I'll do a quick look around now at some of the pads for you, but as I say, any questions at all on what you should be working on with your different mediums, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do for you. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Take care.